If you've ever wondered why you seem to be the one toxic coworkers go after while others get left alone, I need you to understand something right now. This isn't about weakness. This isn't about you being an easy target because there's something wrong with you. It's about specific traits that make you visible to toxic people. And once you understand this, you can flip the script entirely. Let me start by saying this. You're not imagining it. Certain people do get targeted more than others. And if you've been on the receiving end of this, you've probably asked yourself, what am I doing wrong? Why me? Here's the truth that nobody talks about. Toxic people are like predators. They don't pick randomly. They scan the environment, they test boundaries, and they identify specific characteristics that signal you're someone they can exploit. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly why they chose you, what traits they're looking for, and most importantly, how to become completely untargetable. So, let's break this down. Trait 1. You have strong boundaries, but don't enforce them. The first trait that makes you a target is this. You say no, but your body language, your tone, or your follow-through shows uncertainty. Let me paint you a picture. A coworker comes to you and says, "Hey, I know you're busy, but can you help me with this report real quick?" You respond, "I'm sorry, but I'm really swamped right now. I don't think I can." But here's what happens. They push back. They say, "Come on, it'll only take like 20 minutes. I really need your help." And what do? You cave. You end up staying late, helping them, and resenting it the entire time. This is exactly what toxic people are looking for. They test boundaries like scientists running experiments. If you fold after the second ask, you're marked in their mind as persuadable. You've just taught them that your no isn't actually a no, it's a negotiation. And here's the psychology. Behind this, they're not targeting your weakness. They're targeting your guilt and your people-pleasing instinct. They know you don't want to seem difficult. You don't want to be the person who doesn't help. You don't want conflict. So they weaponize that against you. Let me give you 3 signs this is you. First, you apologize when setting boundaries. You say things like, "Sorry, but I can't help with that right now." That sorry signals guilt. And toxic people smell guilt like sharks smell blood in the water. Second, you over-explain your no. Instead of just saying, "I can't take that on," you launch into a 5-minute explanation about everything on your plate. And guess what? Every detail you give them is ammunition they can use to argue with you. They'll say, "Oh, well, if you're not meeting with the client until Thursday, you could squeeze this in." Third, you cave when they give you the silent treatment. They get cold, they act distant, and you immediately start thinking, "Oh no, did I upset them? Maybe I should just help to smooth things over." That's exactly the reaction they want. Trait 2. You're competent and they feel threatened. The second trait is one that catches people off guard because it sounds backwards. You're good at your job. You might be thinking, wait, I thought toxic people target weak people. No, insecure people don't attack the incompetent. They attack the competition. They attack people who make them look bad by comparison. Here's how this plays out. You nail a presentation, your manager praises your work in front of the team. You're getting recognized. And suddenly, out of nowhere, a coworker who's been friendly up until now starts acting differently. Maybe they're suddenly concerned about your workload. Maybe they start making subtle comments to others about how you're doing too much or trying too hard. Maybe rumors start circulating. This isn't random, this is strategic. Because when you succeed, their mediocrity becomes visible. And instead of stepping up their own game, they try to tear you down to their level. Let me give you 3 red flags that this is happening to you. First, credit stealing. You present an idea in a meeting, and later that day, you hear someone else pitching it to management as if it was theirs. Or they downplay your achievements. You closed a major deal, and they respond with, "Yeah, but the client was already interested anyway." Second, they suddenly become helpful. This one's sneaky. They offer to collaborate on your project or support you. But what they're really doing is inserting themselves into your success so they can take partial credit or undermine you from the inside. Third, they point out tiny mistakes publicly while ignoring their own failures. You make one small typo in an email, and they bring it up in front of everyone. But when they miss a deadline, crickets. They never hold themselves to the same standard they hold you to. The psychology here is simple. Your competence is a threat to their ego. And toxic people will always prioritize protecting their ego over doing good work. Trait 3. You're emotionally reactive. They get supply from it. The third trait that makes you a target is that you're emotionally reactive. You visibly get upset. You defend yourself emotionally. You try to fix the relationship when things feel off. And here's what you need to understand. Every reaction you give them is fuel. Narcissists and manipulators don't just want to upset you. They crave your emotional response. It's like a drug to them. Let me give you an example. A toxic coworker makes a passive-aggressive comment in a meeting. Something like, "Oh, I'm sure we'll get this done on time," assuming everyone actually does their part this time. And they glance at you when they say it. What do? You get flustered, your face turns red. You immediately jump in to defend yourself. "I always meet my deadlines. I don't know what you're talking about." And in that moment, they've won. Because they just got the reaction they wanted. They got to watch you squirm. They got entertainment for the day. Here's the brutal truth. Normal people want to resolve conflict. Toxic people want to create it. Conflict gives them stimulation. Your emotional distress is engaging to them. It makes them feel powerful. Let me give you 3 signs you're giving them this supply. First, you cry, argue, or visibly stress after their comments. They can see it on your face, in your body language, in the way your voice changes. Second, you try to prove yourself or win them over. You think, if I just show them I'm a good person, they'll stop. So you work harder, you're extra nice, you try to earn their approval. But it doesn't work because they don't want resolution. They want drama. Third, you vent to others about what they did. And here's the thing, they love this. Because even if you're venting to someone else, it means they got to you. It means they're living rent-free in your head. And often, the person you're venting to will report back to them, which gives them even more satisfaction. Trait 4. You're isolated. No social protection. The fourth trait is isolation. You're newer to the company, you're quieter, or you just don't have strong workplace allies. And toxic people notice this. Bullies, whether they're on a playground or in a boardroom, pick victims who won't have backup. Because if you're isolated, who's going to defend you? Who's going to vouch for you when they start spreading rumors? Here's a real example. There's someone in the office who eats lunch alone. They don't go to happy hours. They're not in the group chat. They're not part of the informal social network. And when a toxic coworker starts making them the scapegoat for problems, nobody steps in because nobody knows them well enough to say, "Wait, that doesn't sound like them." The psychology here is tribal. Humans are pack animals. We're wired to protect people in our in-group and be indifferent or even hostile to people in the out-group. If you're not in anyone's pack, you're vulnerable to social predators. Let me give you 3 signs you're isolated in a way that makes you targetable. First, you don't have coworkers who would defend you in your absence. If someone talks badly about you in a meeting you're not in, there's no one there to say, "Actually, that's not true." Second, you're not in the inner circle of informal communication. You find out about decisions after they've been made. You're not included in side conversations or lunch plans. You're always slightly outside the loop. Third, management doesn't know you well enough to doubt rumors about you. If a toxic coworker goes to your boss and says, "I'm concerned about so-and-so's work ethic," your boss doesn't have enough personal knowledge of you to immediately dismiss it. Trait 5. You're empathetic. They exploit your conscience. The 5th and final trait is, and one that might surprise you. You're empathetic. You give people the benefit of the doubt. You try to understand their perspective. You assume good intent. And toxic people exploit this ruthlessly. Your empathy becomes the weapon they use against you. Here's how it works. A toxic coworker comes to you and confides in you. They tell you they're going through a really hard time, maybe a breakup, a sick family member, financial stress. And because you're empathetic, you feel for them. You want to help. So when they ask you to cover for them or take on some of their work just this once, you say yes. But then just this once becomes twice, then 3 times, then it's every week. And if you try to set a boundary, they hit you with, "I thought we were friends. I'm really going through a lot right now. I can't believe you're being like this." The psychology here is that toxic people don't have your moral code. They don't feel the same obligation to reciprocate kindness. They see your empathy not as a virtue, but as exploitable naivety. They think, "This person is a sucker. I can manipulate them by appealing to their emotions." Let me give you 3 ways they use this against you. First, sob stories to avoid accountability. Every time they mess up, there's a tragic reason why it wasn't their fault. Second, the "I thought we were friends" line whenever you set boundaries. They weaponize the relationship to make you feel guilty for protecting yourself. Third, guilt tripping. "I'm going through a lot right now" becomes a get-out-of-jail-free card for them to underperform, be disrespectful, or take advantage of you. And you're supposed to just accept it because you're a good person. The shift. How to become untargetable. Alright, so now you know the 5 traits, but here's the part that matters. How do you become untargetable? First, stop being the path of least resistance. Enforce boundaries without apology. Not "sorry, but I can't take that on." Just "I can't take that on." Period. No justification. No explanation. The word "no" is a complete sentence, and match their energy. If they're cold, be cordial but distant. Don't chase their warmth. Don't try to win them back. Let them sit in their discomfort. Second, document everything. Toxic people hate paper trails, so create them. Keep records of who said what and when. If they make a commitment in a meeting, send a follow-up email. Just to confirm, you agreed to have this done by Friday, correct? This does 2 things. 1, it protects you if they try to lie later. 2, it signals to them that you're not someone they can gaslight. Third, build strategic alliances. You don't need to be popular. You don't need to be everyone's best friend. You need 2 or 3 respected people in the organization who know the quality of your work. People who would vouch for you if your name came up. People who have social capital. Make your contributions visible to management. Don't brag, but don't hide. Either, when you accomplish something, make sure the right people know about it. Fourth, master emotional neutrality. This is the gray rock method. Be boring. Give them nothing. When they try to provoke you, respond with something neutral and detached. Interesting perspective. Then disengage. Walk away. End the conversation. When you stop giving them the emotional reaction they crave, they get bored, and they move on to someone else who will give them that supply. Fifth, the paradox. Here's the truth that changes everything. The moment you stop caring. If they target you, they usually stop, because they need your reaction. They need you to be affected. The second you're indifferent, they lose their power. So stop trying to fix it. Stop trying to win them over. Stop trying to prove you're a good person. Just exist. Do your work. Be professional. And be completely unbothered by their games. If this video described you, I want you to drop a comment below and tell me which trait hit the hardest. Was it the boundary thing, the competence thing, the empathy thing? Let me know, because I read every comment. And if you want to learn the exact phrases that make toxic coworkers leave you alone, the specific scripts you can use in real situations, I'm covering that in next week's video. So make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss it. Remember, you're not the problem. You never were. You just need to understand the game they're playing, and now you do. I'll see you in the next one.